If I'm going to start making meaningful improvements, I need to first figure out who I am. You can think of a person as a collection of their thoughts and actions, and to be honest, quite often these two don't really meet up. Before I can begin to match up my thoughts and actions to become the person I want to be, I need to ask myself a pretty basic question. What is this current version of Ross? What are my thoughts and actions currently saying about who I am? Today, we're going to find some answers. The first step is really important, and it's all about unclogging your brain. Now, the key here is to be as honest as possible. There's no judgment involved. Set yourself a timer for 20 minutes and just write to your heart's content. And you'll find at the end of that, you'll feel a lot lighter and it'll be a lot easier to organize through things. This is going to be really important for later on. Okay. I'm going to read you the first part of what I wrote. Lately, my life consists mostly of rolling from one day to another. I sleep more than I need, but I constantly feel tired. I feel like I stress from one obligation to the next, often waiting until the last moment to start, because I feel unable to otherwise. I'm unfit, and that is something I never wanted to say about myself. It was core to who I was when I was younger, and it was a person I was proud of. As you can tell, that was a mixture of thoughts and feelings, and it's quite difficult to stick with just your actions at this point, especially since it's the first exercise you'll have done, but it's a good start. Now we've loosened things up a bit, it's a good idea to get a little bit more analytical, a little bit more detailed, and look at how we spend our time. Specifically, what does an average week look like? Just write down what you spend your time doing. Specifically, how long do you spend at work, traveling to and from work? How long do you spend doing social activities? How you procrastinate? Any good or bad habits that you have? Any routines that you like to keep? These are all important pieces of information that will form a trend that you can then learn from tomorrow and the next day. Speaking of, this is what an average week looks like for me. And to be honest, straight away it should be pretty obvious what I spend most of my time doing and where the major problem is. So that does mean that we can skip step 3. It would be pretty irresponsible of me to not actually explain what step 3 is. Step 3 is going through your long list. So for me, a lot of those come under procrastination, as you can see here. So you go through and you group things into kind of categories. This is really important because it means that you can then look and see what you should do less of and the things you should do more of. Especially exercise for me, as it's something I mentioned earlier on, but there's not much of it at all here. In fact, there's only half an hour. We've now seen who we think we are and what our actions show us to be. That's a pretty good start, but now we need to shift gears and look ahead. Who's the person we're aching to become? That's what we're going to get to the bottom of tomorrow.